introduce Matt Menshew, and he is a sales team leader in North Carolina. And I've known him for, well, I don't know, about 2 or so years or something like that. Is that right,
Yeah,
Matt?
that's right. About 2 years. And I think I found you on Facebook. I think that's how we got connected.
That's how I find all my best friends.
Mhm.
So Matt, so tell us a little about yourself. How long you been in? So you were a police officer before, correct?
Yes.
All right. So walk us through sort of like the beginnings. What happened? What were your what were your successes, and then how did you do that specifically with lead generation?
Yeah. So when I started, like, I went through all the training and stuff the real estate company gives you, and that really wasn't really working out for me. And I just kind of came up with my own kind of methodology of looking for stuff that was because, when you first get started in real estate, a lot of money and it's expensive to be in real estate. So what I would do, and I share this with everybody, is I'll go and find properties, either vacant land or houses, and I would look them up. Because you can go into Realist and you can go in there and pull up entire neighborhoods, and you can find the LLCs. And once you find the LLC, you can go to in North Carolina, it's the North Carolina Secretary of State website, and they have a filing that you can pull up. So I pull up the filing, and I got their phone number, so I call them, and I've a fair amount of them I've turned into I've turned those into listings, and I've also turned them, more importantly, into relationships. So that was kind of where I started. And
Okay.
yeah, so when I met Dan, the my my business had kind of stalled out, and I just reached a point where I really wasn't. I was really thinking maybe I should be doing something else because I just wasn't. I wasn't. I mean, I went the first 3 or 4 months of that year without really having any closings and stuff, and that's about the time I found you.
Time out real quick. Has anybody besides Matt and myself ever had the thought like, what the hell am I doing? Has anybody besides us ever had that thought? I'm just curious. Put a one in the chat if you've ever had that thought. Valerie's in I forget where you're at. Where are you at, Valerie? You're in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee. If I keep guessing it.
Georgia.
Florida. Georgia. Oh my goodness. I got all around there. I knew it was South. I knew it was South. Valerie's been a broker for a very, very long time. That's why I'm picking on her, right? So she's a very experienced a person. And so if you've ever had that thought that what Matt just said, thank you, Valerie. If you ever had that thought of what Matt just said about like, oh my goodness, like what am I doing here? Right? That's common. You're not the only one, right? Look in the chat and see how many people are putting the ones in there. I can't see the chats right now. So I'm assuming that you guys are putting the ones in there. And if you're not, then you're lying. Just saying. So Matt, so talk us through so you got the leads, but to walk us through like lead generation. Well, before
Uh,
we do that, what were your results early on?
Early
You were
on,
a police officer. Didn't you get injured on the job or something, or
yeah,
you took like a medical retirement or something early?
no, I retired with 30 years, but I was able to sell my military time back. I was having to buy it
Got
back, say.
it. Okay.
So
All right. So you retired as a police officer in the military, and then you
yeah.
got into real estate sales, and then you started doing some work. And what did you do like to be able to do that? And then what were your results early on?
Um, Early on, I wasn't doing too bad, but I kind of hit a wall. Like I was calling a lot of for sale by owners and stuff like that because they're easy to find,
Yeah.
and I've actually, uh, they're a lot of work, but you can get conversions on them. You just got to keep bugging them. Well, it's mainly about building a relationship, though. You know, that's all it is. All of this is about building the relationship. So when I was doing okay, but I just, like I said, I hit that wall and I was just kind of lost. And that's when I found Dan and took the class, and I changed everything.
So Matt, so What's the vitality of lead generation in your business today?
I do the same thing that you do. I do hey, my business plan is 30 minutes of like recruitment, talking with other realtors and stuff like that. And a lot of times I don't even talk about recruitment. We just talk. I
Sure.
do 60 minutes of lead generation every day, sometimes more, depending on, what's going on. And like right now is a really good time to be doing lead gen. You can, I love using RedX. That's the dialer I use. It's certainly worth the money. Like it pays for itself as soon as you get one closing. Um, so then you do the lead gen, and then I do lead conversion, which is another 60 minutes, which is calling these people back. And I have I like to write stuff down, so I have a planner and I have people's names and stuff, and I'm like, and I'll kind of rate them, like 1 to 10 or whatever, how hot of a lead I think they are. I mean, you can do that in Redx too. You can also do that, but I'd find it easier if I have it on paper and I can look back at it. So, I also spend time, doing video content creation and stuff like that.
Okay.
So,
So
but
two and a half hours of recruiting, lead generation, lead conversion, and then
yeah,
some additional time for videos.
yes,
Love it. So what I recommend, and Matt is following this with this recommendation is 1 to 3. So I've had no broke months as a sales agent since 2008. All right. Here's how. You guys ready for like this earth shattering news? Like, how can somebody do that for 18 years? Here's how. 1 to 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. I've done lead generation since I became a real estate agent. 1 to 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. Okay. Now, Matt's talking about using RedX. Do I recommend that you use RedX? Not necessarily. It works for Matt, it works for Dan, but it may not work for you. So what I recommend instead, and when I talk, what I go through in the book, Teach to Sell, is I go through and I highlight and say, what is your superpower? Okay, and for those of you that, so I talked to you guys about the 5 week journey after this. For those of you that do the 5 week journey, we're going to go through an exercise. We're going to identify your superpower, and we're going to identify the opportunities, and we're going to actually identify what you should be doing in your business. Okay, because you may not be, calling Red X. All right, because that may not resonate with you. All right. The reality of it is you don't have to do anything in this business, but you have to do something.
I'll be honest with you. A lot of times RedX doesn't resonate with me, but I do it because I when you do the numbers, it's like I'll make a lot of dials in a day,
Sure.
and just one of those converting into a listing and converting into a sale. Like when you divide that by the minutes, it's a lot of money that like you're making per hour if you want to look at it like that.
Yeah. And we don't have the time to go through this right now, but in any lead generation system that you have, as long as you're doing it, 1 to 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, if you do the math on it, you will find that if you're in real estate sales and you do the math on it, the dollar per hour is amazing. But the reality of it is most people don't do it. When I recommend somebody, if you go and you say, okay, well, I'm going to be an open house agent. I say, okay, is that the only way you're going to find business? Yes. Okay, well, how many open houses will you do? And then they'll say, I'll do 3 a month. I say, all right, so that's going to take you how long? It's going to take me 9 hours. All right, so you want to build a career for 9 hours of work a month. And then guess what? They don't even do the 9 hours because they only do 1 or 2 open houses. Okay. Imagine if you did 4 open houses every single weekend. And now you're like, oh my God, that's a lot. Okay. But what did I just say? 4 open houses every weekend costs you how much? That's less than 2 work days. And you will make hundreds of thousands of dollars with that schedule. But you have to do it. Now, guess what? I'm not doing open houses. And I bet Matt's not either. Maybe he is. Yeah, I didn't think so. Us cold callers, we're anti open houses, right? But if open house is your jam, freaking do it. All right. So what I recommend for lead generations is pick something that is special to you. For the next 5 weeks, we're going to go through and we're going to identify that for you, and then do a plan and actually implement it. Matt, as we finish up here, what would something be to leave the audience about specifically about lead generation, like whether it be a problem with lead generation or an opportunity with lead generation or anything else? What would you share as a nugget of wisdom for us to know about lead generation?
It needs to be part of your business, and it has to be part of your business. When you find everybody has a different thing, like you got to find what works for you, what resonates with you, and when you do, you even when you're not getting any results, you have to continue to take action. You have to continue to do that.
Matt, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you. Ask you something real. Have you ever felt capable, smart, experienced, and still notice your income feels inconsistent? It's not a motivation problem, and it's not a hustle problem. It's a conversation problem. That gap between what you know you can do and other people's willingness to move forward is called the influence gap. And that's exactly what the Teach Yourself Book Ambassador Club is designed to close. It's not just a book club, it's a 5-week implementation experience that teaches you how trust actually forms in conversations and how decisions move forward without pressure. Week 1, you'll see why effort isn't the issue and why let me think about it really means there's no clarity. Week 2, you'll learn out why confidence doesn't come from personality, it comes from certainty. And certainty comes from being understood. Week 3, you'll learn language that creates safety instead of resistance, so pressure disappears naturally. Week 4, you'll stop selling altogether and learn how authority is earned by teaching, not convincing. And week 5, you'll end restart mode by installing daily habits that compound trust and protect consistent and predictable income. Here's the part most people miss. You're not just paying for coaching. You get full access to the CBI Digital Training Library, a $10,000 system built to make Teach to Sell stick. Not motivation, not hype, a framework that prevents slipping backwards. 5 minutes a week creates massive momentum. This is $29 for 5 weeks. Then an ongoing support if you choose to stay. Cancel anytime, no pressure, full transparency. If you're ready to replace selling with leadership, and if you want people to feel clear and safe saying yes, join us as a Teach to Sell Book Ambassador. This is where trust becomes consistent and predictable income. I'll see you inside.